HMCS Haida, the fightingest ship in the Royal Canadian Navy. The question that I receive most often lately, is she worth getting while you can? Allow me to explain a little of what makes her so special, and then you can decide. Canada and her 12 million citizens entered World War II in September of 1939. One of the lone fighting allies of Britain for the next 2 years was key to keeping the vital Atlantic supply routes flowing and keeping Britain from falling. German attacks through World War II would claim over 100 Canadian vessels and struck as close to home as the St. Lawrence Seaway. The country began the war with a very meager navy and a small number of personnel, but ended the war with the third largest number of surface ships and over 110,000 personnel. Every sailor, soldier, and airman in Canada's over 1 million strong armed forces by the end of World War II was a volunteer. There was never a draft in Canada. In total, Canada had 8 tribal-class destroyers in her navy. 4 were built in England, and 4 were built in the Halifax shipyards here in Canada. The tribals were all named after different groups of native people from throughout the Commonwealth. The Haida, for example, was named after the Haida Nation, originally from the Haida Gwaii Islands on Canada's west coast. The ship herself was laid down in 1941, entered service in 1943 with the Royal Canadian Navy. She has countless contributions and accomplishments through several conflicts, with 14 enemy ships sunk, including 3 German destroyers and a German U-boat. Her long and storied career began in the Atlantic, protecting Russian supply convoys, and then later in the war supporting the English Channel against the Germans until the end of World War II. As we see her in World of Warships, Haida has a hit point pool of 15,700. Her main armament consists of 6 120mm guns and 3 turrets with a firing range of 12.32 kilometers, a 5-second reload time, 20mm of HE pen, and a 5% fire chance. Quadruple 533mm torpedo launcher with a speed of 62 knots and range of 8 kilometers with a 96-second reload can be fired together or single launch for added flexibility. Interesting for a destroyer, she has a single 102mm mount secondary battery with 4-kilometer firing range. I've actually had a secondary kill with this against another destroyer. It's just kind of funny. She also has a rudder shift of 3.8 seconds, turning circle of 630 meters. And one of her main strengths is her excellent detection here, 5.7 kilometers. It allows you to stay in the center of action undetected for a longer period of time than most other destroyers of her tier. It can be lethal, hunting with 3.5 kilometer hydroacoustic search with a 3-minute duration combined with her 90-second duration crawling smoke. And for any of you unfamiliar with this consumable, the crawling smoke generator allows you to move at 1/4 speed and remain under the cover of that smoke for the duration of that consumable. It requires a little bit of practice, but it can be very versatile. Her engines also have a base speed of 36.5 knots. Sierra Mike's increases that to 38.3 knots, and with the engine boost consumable, she can achieve 41.4 knots. So very flexible. One thing to note here, you obviously have to watch your mini-map, but that Zara enabled her smoke. You can see the white silhouette around her ship. She's inside of that. So you can freely fire at that ship without her being able to spot us. We were briefly detected by other ships just before this, so that's why we took some damage there.
Much better.
Decent gun range. Pretty decent chance of fire starting.
Another day.
One thing to note with your crawling smoke, you can actually out-accelerate in reverse your smoke generator. Going forward, 1/4 speed and you'll stay fully encompassed. Backing up, you can actually be faster than your smoke generator, so just something to be cognizant of. And again here, we outspot most destroyers at our tier, which is very advantageous. It allows you to play the ship more aggressively than most other destroyers at tier 7. We've got to pay particular attention. There's a lot of cruisers in this area. The hydro will save your life more often than not, too. It's only 3.5 kilometer detection of ships and I think 3 kilometers of torpedoes, but it really helps. Maps like this with lots of islands, too, are excellent. Again, watch your positioning carefully. Your torpedoes aren't particularly fast, I think 62 knots, but because you can get so close, it offers you the opportunity to land more hits. The other thing to remember too is once your ship's 51% concealed by an island, you can always fire your back guns.
Oh, and it got such good gas mileage.
Patient play being a destroyer. Accelerate quickly so we don't get detected. And this is a close match. 6 minutes in and 3 ships each. They have a 15-second lead on us just because of the battleship is worth more points than the others. Get a torpedo hit with the flood.
Time to put on the
Watch the damage counter. The Duke repaired, so we'll quickly smoke. We'll try and get a fire on her. Get a fire to stick for full duration, we can do a lot of damage. So there's one fire, trying to get the second on her. It's a pretty big area of superstructure too, so against a slow-moving battleship like this, you want to switch to AP as quickly as you can when you can put so many into the superstructure. But if you can get that second fire to stick, which is being frustrating and not, but you can do a lot more damage. You get the fire burning plus the AP damage. There's the fire. Switch to AP. See a couple of thousand in a volley, so you stack this stuff and it adds up the damage adds up in a big hurry.
Another disembowelment. Well, at least he got an.
In 1949, the crew of the Haida earned the designation of honorary Texans after rescuing the downed crew of a stricken B-29, whose co-pilot was a Texan. The ship received a major refit in 1951 and saw her 4.7-inch batteries replaced with dual-purpose 4-inch, the addition of directional squid launchers, and the enhancement of her role as an anti-submarine ship. She entered action in the Korean War, 1951, and Haida earned the second-best record for breaking North Korean naval supply trains. After that war, she served in keeping the peace along the Korean waters, and then again saw peacekeeping action in the Suez Crisis in 1956. And she flooded out to our torpedo. At this point, we're actually in pretty good shape, the team.
Can't leave my ride behind.
Problem for me is Devonshire, Shores, Zara, Julio. Those are all dangerous ships to destroyers. Little bit of cat and mouse. And hydroed. That's never a good thing. Turning here to try and use the islands to stay undetected. The Devonshire's 8 kilometers away. Shores is right behind me. Try and lay some smoke, get out of the hydro range. Of course, I took damage there that...
Much better.
Make a bit of a mistake here. Get myself detected, get myself reacquired by hydro. Got a little greedy. I go from 9,500 health here. I take a lot of damage I didn't have to take. I'm still detected by that Devonshire behind me. And Zara, the Italians with their fast SAP, that's just lethal. So I've taken about 7,000 damage for nothing that I did not have to take. I just should have kept running.
And it got such good gas mileage.
Slowed down just a little further away, and would have been a different rest of the game.
Another day, another disembowelment.
HMCS Haida stands as the last of her kind still in existence, and this year will mark 80 years since Haida was laid down. Fortunately, she's been preserved because of strong private efforts after being retired in 1963. She eventually became the museum she is today, located in Hamilton, Ontario, under the care of Parks Canada. You can easily go to their website, book tours, see a lot more information about the history of this ship. I had the good fortune of visiting her during the World of Warships Anchors Away tour in August of 2019. I was very fortunate to have met a veteran who actually served on the ship, as well as meeting World of Warships staff, iChase Gaming, and about 150 other gamers. We really look forward to the Anchors Away events starting up again in the future. If any of you ever get the opportunity to check out any of the ships that have become museums, and especially one of the Wargaming sponsored Anchors Away tours, these are really well put on. There's a lot of gifts. You get to meet veterans, hear the stories, discover some of the histories of these ships. Keeps things alive. My hat's off to Wargaming for the amount of effort they put into keeping and supporting these museums. It's fantastic. Again, with the Haida, using the islands, just denying them the ability to push into the center. I didn't cover much map. I was just doing a lot of circles in this area, but was constantly providing that threat. And super close game. At the moment, they've got the victory by 15 seconds on us, 5-point lead. So the last thing a person wants to do is give them a free ship and end up losing the game. Nice hit.
Can't leave my ride behind.
Might be pushing my luck a little bit getting this close.
Time to put on the beer goggles.
Wasted my last smoke. Hindsight, right? If I had some more health, I would have shot there. But I knew I was right on the line of being non-detected from line of sight with that island.
A crowbar would come in handy right about now.
Want to make sure I'm not going to beach. Some of these battleship players can be very effective at smoke firing. One thing about the creeping smoke, and it's something that if you play them a lot, you'll notice, but people have become very aware that as the fresh puff appears just in front of you or around you, that you're right in the middle of that. So a lot of people can become quite capable of hitting the ships that are inside. And again, with me only having 2,500 health, that's just 2 shell hits and I'm done. So I'm playing very cautiously this last bit. We've managed to pull ahead a little bit here again.
Another day, another disembowelment.
And again, you've got the choice of single fire torpedoes. So you can go through narrow gaps, things like that. One thing with single fire torpedoes to remember is once you start firing single launch, or like single torpedoes, they don't reload until you fire your last torpedo. So just keep that in mind. And I've caught myself a couple of times where you've got 1 torpedo left and 3 minutes later it's like, oh no. But firing 2, holding for a little bit and firing 2 more is not a bad strategy. Try not to fire, again, it's a tough one. Comes with experience, but you can fire all 4 in a straight line, one after the other. The problem with that, you either hit with all or you miss with all. So you're better off firing with the normal spread. But sometimes being able to fire through small gaps is a nice thing. Ships that are island camping. It was already burning. We get the flood. Julio goes down. Now we've taken the lead back again. This is just a back and forth game. So the question in the beginning, is this ship worth it? Undeniably, my answer to this is a resounding yes. It's unique play style. Is it overpowered? No, absolutely not. Is it versatile? Yes. Does it require a different style of play to other destroyers? Absolutely. Creeping smoke, the short detection, single torpedo launcher, all of that is somewhat different. It's probably more of an intermediate ship to do well in, but for those who can master the tools you have, it's very versatile, which makes it very powerful in certain circumstances. Have fun with it. Get it. It's worthy of being in your port. Nice. Got the Devonshire. Let's just speed through the last few moments of this. Well, that's it for me for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you appreciated the replay and a little bit of history. Please like and subscribe. And until the next, good hunting.